Hi, and welcome back to Marriage Investors. So, just want to welcome you back, and we want to certainly welcome Valerie back.
Hello.
Hello. She was not on our last one, but where I talked about priorities. But here at Marriage Investors, we believe that every moment is a chance to invest in your most valuable relationship, and that's your marriage. Would you say, Valerie?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So, what are we going to talk about today, Valerie?
Well, I'm Val again. Just we're gonna be talking about cherishing that most valuable person, that treasure that you married, your spouse, and just talking about ways we can prioritize them. And you talked about priority last week.
Right.
So we just want to piggyback on just practical things that we can do to help couples as well as ourselves to stay connected and really prioritize, which is showing that you value them.
So our key verse, and we try most of the time here to give you a key verse that you want you to kind of remember from a biblical standpoint, and that's from Matthew 6:21 that says, "Where your treasure is, there's where your heart is also." So, and Valerie, and last time we talked, you talked about this heart focus. So let's just pause a minute Jesus was was speaking about money and priorities in that verse. But the principle applies to every part of our lives where we invest our time, our energy. That's where our heart truly is, where we invest our time and our energy into things. You know what I mean? And I know we are very busy, schedules and all that. So, how have we done that? And what suggestions can we offer in that area?
Yeah, it's first you have to really come to a place of intentionality. You have to come to a place of asking that question, am I prioritizing my spouse at this time? But then I'm thinking back, and I know young couples and young families is saying, how do you do that when I am, working? I got kids, younger kids. Also, I'm bringing in kids. It's different dynamics, but I think in all the dynamics, you got to stop and ask for wisdom. Ask God for wisdom, but really stop and look around. And if your heart is to stay connected and to value that spouse, you're gonna find ways to connect. And one way that we did, I'm thinking about even through the grind, the times when we've been married over 4 decades, guys, and I know many of people will say, "Wow, how can they relate?" I still remember, I still remember the challenge of trying. But you know what? My heart was still for sale, for my spouse. I wanted to find some kind of way to connect, even though, even in the tiredness of what. So what I would do basically just to narrow it down, when the kids were small or whatever, as they got to, we had times away, for us prioritizing time. Or if we didn't go nowhere, because we didn't have family near us, we just had time to have coffee early in the morning. So whenever we can, we always try to find a way to show that we value each other by time. So when that heart is there, the key is that heart. And when that heart is there and that spouse is still your treasure, you will find a way. And our way was whatever time we could. When we was even with myself of keeping the kids and nursing kids and all, I had to come to a place where you still have time. It's amazing though. Many people think how that if you need 10 minutes, 50, 30, it's not. Time is, but when you're in the grind, it's sometimes hard and everybody got different jobs and everything. But I really do believe that once that heart is intentionality to show in time, that will come. You will find a way.
So the number one thing Valerie kind of hit on here today is time.
Of
Okay.
showing value.
Of showing value. Okay. So I guess you've been leading off these discussions, but I guess I'm going to go into an important topic, and that's effort. You putting effort into it though, and that effort that you place is important to make it happen. I think, we put a lot of effort into everything we do, our job. So I guess you should combine that with, I guess, energy. And that's the important thing as far as, when we prioritize in our life. And like I said in my last episode, where you place important value on that person, you're gonna put in you're gonna put in the effort and their energy. But I think that's an important part that we can do as marriage couple is that energy level, because we when it's all over, we come home, we've worked long hours, we're on these jobs, and we're tired. So a key thing is in that effort is, I guess, scheduling time. When you say Valerie,
Yes.
scheduling that time.
Yeah. As scheduling time is it does take effort. Effort is in everything, as you were saying. But you schedule a time that, as I said before, you look at what you're doing. You evaluate where we're going, and you have to come to a place where something got to go. You just do. We're in a day's time where everybody's working. You're working, at that time you was hitting like sometimes 70 hours maybe. Here I am working 30 hours or whatever, putting in different hours. And then we're in the grind of raising and training kids. And you have to say, this is too much. Something have to go. So if you're working and you count those time of hours you're working, and then you both, it's like you do for your money, how you spend. You do the same thing for your relationship. You look and you evaluate it, what is going on. And then you make that effort to make it happen. But you got to make an effort. You have to do an effort. You have the energy. Some people say, Val, I don't have the energy. You'll be surprised. It's just, you might have to say, where is my energy going? You know what I mean? Is my energy going in a direction that's profitable? Is my energy on TV? Or is my energy, where is my energy?
What about social media?
Or social media. You can be just strolling down. Every time you look, you on the phone. How about just you and your husband just have a cup of coffee, or just have the children around, or whatever. I just believe that I have always said, if there's a will, there's a way. You heard that, growing up. But that effort is very important. But effort is it. You have to find and wonder, what are you doing with your energy? You're doing your job. Okay, you both have come to that agreement. Now that time left over, what am I doing with that time? What am I doing with that energy? How is the effort being perfected, and where is the effort going? When you do have some time left, where do you go with that time that's left? On a Saturday evening or a Sunday, God will multiply your time when you're honoring your spouse. Because that's just something that's a biblical. He wants us to honor and value that spouse. And effort and time, I think, is more, and it's a lot more we're going to talk about on that, of valuing our spouse. But that's effort,
the first.
So, where you're putting your effort at.
So it's two things we've talked about here.
Right.
And that's time and effort.
Yes.
So those two kind of things we talk about, it brings, and then that's what we're talking about today. It's the topic is value. So that put value, right?
Yes.
So I tell you, you are important to me. by the time and the effort that I'm putting in, right?
Yes, right.
Now it's a lot more involved with that, like that we'll talk about in other topics, like in that time and effort, how we're communicating, how we're dealing with conflicts or challenges, because we all got those conflicts and challenges that we have in our relationship. So you can be spending the time and spending the effort, but it must be effective, as far as showing that love and showing that value, you know? Valerie, you got anything to say about that, or?
Yeah, I did, but you started sharing on some other thing. But I had a thought on my mind, mainly for as I just thinking about that value for its time and effort.
Okay.
That is two of the elements, but it's something else. It's so much more to that totality of just that value. So I'm just keep thinking about how important it is, and I think you made a statement that that spouse wants to feel, and I just thought about my thought when you said that. I
Okay.
thought about unrealistic expectations with time, and
Okay.
we're gonna end it probably with this.
Right.
You have
Okay.
to come to a realistic. Both of you talking. Is my expectations too high with time? Am I expecting too much from my spouse? What's my expectation? Do you want her or he, when they've worked many hours, what are you expecting? So you have to come to an agreement on that, where it's my expectations of time. How much effort
And
do you
effort.
want me?
Yeah,
If both the
expectation.
expectations have to be in there, because sometimes we need to grace each other, and it's too much we're doing. And again, you have to evaluate your life, just like you do on jobs. We evaluate these managers, these bosses tell us all this stuff we have to do, and we get so detailed in it. But when it comes to our relationships, and especially, you have to wonder, how are my expectations? Are they realistic in what we are doing with our time?
Realistic, huh?
Yes, it's very important. And but when you are putting things, seek ye first, when you seeking God, and everything else will line up, it really will. You have to seek Him in prayer about you and your spouse and get wisdom. How can we do? And I believe you'll come. I know you'll come to some answers that some stuff got to go. Something got to
Yes,
go.
you start
And especially
prioritizing.
when that spouse is not feeling valued, even if you got children, and I still feel it. But make sure that your expectations are realistic.
Great point. And we're going to kind of end it on that today,
Yes.
where we talked about this whole thing from Matthew 6:21, where your treasure is where your heart is, and putting that time and effort into it. And then Valerie brought out at the end here that key point of expectations. What are we expecting from our spouse? We can set those expectations too high. So it comes both ways, and it's just working together. As we close, we just want to remind you of just a few things here. If you like these videos that we're producing, please like it and share it with someone. Share it with other couples. We try to bring some insight on tips and practical things you can do in terms of your relationship. I got a lot of resources that you can take advantage of by visiting my website at www.marriageinvestors.net, where you will find I have a blog. I have free resources that you can get, little things that you can help you on a day-to-day basis, and you just pull up on your phone and just read it, and maybe it'll be an inspiration to you in helping you on a day-to-day basis. And all these things we do, and it's for you. And I hope you can feel it about what we're saying. We just want to be authentic and just help couples out in these areas. That's why we call it Marriage Investors, where you can get a chance to focus on those things that are important in your life. So until we meet again, stay connected.
And God bless you abundantly.
Thank you, Valerie. Have a good day.